last week, I made a decision that has brought so much freedom and peace to my life. I decided to break things off with ChatGPT. I got to a point where I just felt so dependent on AI that it was clouding my own judgment and making things feel really overwhelming and confusing to me. And I just thought back to what life was like before I depended on ChatGPT. And honestly, it was better. So I made the hard decision to break up with ChatGPT, delete the app, and delete all of my old chats. And I was worried that it was going to be something that I regretted, and I can honestly tell you I have no regrets. In this video, I just want to go over how I've been using AI for the past year and some of the issues that I've been facing. And maybe you'll relate to some of the things that I've been experiencing and you'll decide to break up with ChatGPT too. So here we go. One of the biggest things that I've noticed with ChatGPT is that it started to make me be less original and creative. I noticed that a lot of times I would take an outline, or I would write off of an outline, or I would take a YouTube video and turn it into a blog post. And I just noticed that the tone, my voice, was so far from the way I would actually speak, and it just sounded really unoriginal. Anytime I'm reading something online, I'm on social media, I can immediately tell when someone's using ChatGPT. It just doesn't sound human. And I don't care how much you doctor it, you can tell immediately. And as an artist, I feel like I don't want people taking my artwork and creating other pieces of illustration from it. And I felt like I was doing the same thing to people online who are writing. And I knew that AI was taking the things that they were saying and writing about and using it to create the content that I needed. And that just didn't sit right with me as an artist. Number two, honestly, I just started becoming addicted to it. I found myself depending on it. ChatGPT became my therapist, my business coach, my relationship coach, just filled so many roles in my life that it made me really dependent on it. There were times that I would need to send a text back to someone, and it was hard for me to even send a text back without just double checking with ChatGPT to see if that was the right way to say things so that I didn't push them away further or do something that would just sever our relationship. And these are things that I used to be able to trust myself for, and then I was no longer able to trust myself. I found that ChatGPT also, it was just info overload. I had hundreds of chats, and it was really hard for me to find anything, and it just felt like I just had all this information that I needed to go through, and I didn't have the bandwidth to do that. So I felt like just starting over and getting rid of it and getting rid of the chats was just going to almost like declutter my brain. In addition to causing confusion and not allowing myself to think for myself, I'm not really saying that the right way, but it was replacing God for me. When there were things that I needed to turn to God for, to pray about, to get discernment over, I would turn to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT and then just never go to God. And internally, that just felt so wrong to me, and I knew that it was becoming a problem. And the final straw was just doing my research and realizing how bad ChatGPT is for the environment. I saw a video where there was this woman talking about all the data centers in her town and how she was giving an example of how her water's like trickling out of the faucet. And as someone with OCD that takes way too many showers a day, I can't be without running water. I'm sorry. I'm not going to just keep turning to ChatGPT and then deplete the earth of water. I waste a lot of water myself, but this is a totally different level of wasting water. And that was kind of like the nail in the coffin for me. I don't want to deplete the earth of water that we're able to use. Since deleting ChatGPT, I was worried that I was going to have regret, and I do not have any regrets. And also, I feel initially when I did it, and I still feel this, I just feel so free. I just feel free. Since turning away from ChatGPT, I find that my creativity is coming back. I'm able to outline YouTube videos and not just depend on ChatGPT to think of the talking points. I found a lot of times with ChatGPT when I'd be planning out content, it would give me all these talking points, but it wasn't necessarily things that I wanted to talk about, but then it just made me second guess what I had originally planned on discussing or writing about or talking about, and it just made me question myself a lot. So I've noticed that I'm definitely more creative now. And I'm also turning back to non-digital forms of content planning and creating. So instead of using an online calendar or Google Keep, or what else was I using? Document in Google Drive. I'm so good about collecting information and putting it into files, but then I just forget about them. I don't know where they are. Even with having an organization system and an index, I still can't find things. So I just feel like index cards that I put in like this little wooden box that have separators, it's just a better system for me where I can actually find things. And then I know that that's where I go. And the same thing with writing things down. I just use one notebook to write things down in, and then I can find everything. Before, I just had multiple things everywhere. And that's kind of, what I was experiencing with ChatGPT. It was just like multiple thoughts everywhere and just feeling a constant sense of overwhelm because I knew that I had all this information that was out there and I couldn't access it. So that is my experience with deleting ChatGPT that I wanted to share. And I am so interested in how other people are experiencing AI and the positives and negatives that you're experiencing, and also like you feeling the same way that I was. Do you want to break up with it too? I've noticed that the less forms of digital media that I have in my life, the more regulated I feel and calmer. So I've noticed that when I don't have Instagram or Facebook or ChatGPT, I just feel like a calmer individual, and I am turning back to simpler methods of content creation and just recording things. And I'm sure that I'll have updates along the way. And in my next video, I think I want to share my data collection and organization system that I use to just kind of organize my tasks and all of the things that I do in my life, and see if it might be something that you can use and that will be helpful in your journey. All right, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.